All right, well, good morning, everybody. Why don't we go ahead and get going? We're still waiting for one of our speakers to join us, but I think we can go ahead and go. I hope she'll be able to join us, but provide some important information either way. So I'm Tony Thomas, President and CEO of the Midland Business Alliance. And so the Midland Business Alliance, I know we've talked to so many of you, is a combination of chamber economic development for the entire county of Midland. And so we've been very focused on how we can assist so many of the businesses that are impacted by floods. As I think many of you know, FEMA provides assistance through for individuals, for infrastructure, works with township, cities, the county, but the Small Business Administration provides assistance to businesses. And so we thought it was important, and we're recording this. So for those of you who are on here, we'll have a time for questions at the end, but also please let others know. We're going to try and get the word out, but please let others know that couldn't join us today so they can take a look at this and we can get this information out. You know, I know a lot of you, we've been trying to reach out directly, and Nicole Wilson, who I'll introduce in just a minute, has talked with you. And we do have some assistance that we want to provide directly, but we also know, you know, our partners with the Small Business Administration and SBDC that also does a great job. Want to make sure that you know all the different tools and options that are available for the businesses that have been so dramatically impacted. So with that, appreciate you joining us and taking time to do this. I'm going to turn it over to Nicole for some introductions. And again, please help get the word out and let us know if you have questions or concerns. If we don't know the answer, we'll do our best to find it for you. So thanks for being with us today.
Absolutely. I thought, you know, we have been kind of reaching out and having lots of good conversations, and certainly getting to know all of you, and your passion for your businesses is been a lot of fun for me. While it's not the best circumstances to do so, I certainly appreciate your time and getting to know all of you. So my role here, as most of you know, is VP of Economic Development. And while generally disaster recovery is not a part of my daily work, it has been a part of my life for a few months now. So lots of fun. So on our call today, in addition to Tony and myself, Julie Garrett will be joining us, and Catherine Gase, who's the lead economic development specialist for the SBA, and then Dave Emmel from the Small Business Development Center, the Great Lakes Bay region. And Dave's title is Associate Regional Director and Consultant. If I am capturing that incorrectly, Dave, feel free to correct me. But the SBDC and the SBA are both here to assist businesses in their recovery, and then SBA, of course, or SBDC, of course, to help our small businesses on the daily, to help with their, you know, financial and business planning questions. And certainly, Dave, I'm sure you'll have a few more comments on that, but we can, I would say, go ahead and get started. I understand that Julie will be logging in with us in just a second, so we'll get going there in just a minute. I guess maybe I will go ahead, Tony, and cover kind of what MBA has been doing up to this point, just to kind of kick us off. So obviously MBA has, we spent a lot of time out doing outreach and meeting many of you, and certainly if there are others we haven't touched, we want to hear that as well. I have a few that came in my voicemail this morning, so we'll continue to follow up with those. The MBA, as Tony mentioned, has some funds that we have put together through reaching out to a philanthropic partner who has helped small businesses through the COVID recovery process. So in total, we have about $150,000 that we are able to allocate toward business recovery. Those funds are, as all of you have heard, meant to help businesses who are ready and committed to rebuilding and reopening in short order. And so we went through that application process and provided first round of recommendations to our small committee. And as of this morning, received our final approval. And so we'll move forward with delivering those grant agreements and getting payment information so we can submit those out. At this point, we will have granted $77,500 of that $150,000 just on that first recommendation. And obviously outreach is ongoing out into the Poseyville, Bullet Creek area and then up into Edenville. So we'll continue to do that outreach. If there, as I said before, businesses we haven't talked to or touched, certainly let us know. We want to be in contact there as well. In terms of kind of our goals around this recovery, or at least around these funds, is really to not only do this first round of funding, but then also to try to be a connector to larger resources that might be available going forward. SBA is one of those. Certainly making those folks available to you is a good resource for you. And then moving on to some other funds that might be available through the USDA and other state and federal funds. The Community Revitalization Program with the state of Michigan is one that I think we've talked about, top of mind. And so we'll continue to make those resources and connections as we, as you identify those needs and we see them as well. So we'll move forward with that. Tony, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. I did want to add that hopefully you've seen that it's separate from the direct impact in terms of the flooding and the dam breaches, but there is our funds available coming for COVID-19 assistance to small businesses 50 or under through, we're going to be making those grants locally, but the applications are through the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, MEDC. And so if you go to your webpage, you can file that. And so I mean, obviously, so many of you have been impacted by the flood, but have also been impacted by COVID-19. And so those are grants that will allow us to give up to $20,000 to businesses. Now we'll probably try and disperse that as much as we can so we can help as many businesses as possible. August 5th is the deadline. It's not first come, first serve like the PPP was. So, just if you get a chance, it opened up last week, but go out there this week, next week. And if it's a fit for you and your business, please fill that out. And then they'll get us all the applications back. 30% of the funds by law are required to go to businesses owned by veterans, women, minorities. And so we want to make sure we get these dollars out to help all of you, because I mean, COVID-19 has impacted everyone. So that's another important tool, and it just opened up last week. But again, check that out. Check out our website. We've got a great toolbox on both flood and COVID-19, mbami.org. And I know in some cases there's technical challenges. If so, just give us a phone call, and we'll kind of help figure out the best way to guide you through that. So we'll keep you updated on those tools, but I thought that was one that's fairly recent. Wanted to make sure I mentioned that.
And Tony, we had talked about this morning too, just kind of circling back on both of those funds. If you find yourself in a situation where you don't have your computers, I know several of those were lost in the flood. If you need that resource, the MBA is happy to make our space available for you to complete that. We have, a couple extra laptops and could work with our IT partner to make sure those are available if you wanted to come in here and fill those out. And then we're hopeful that moving forward, there will be some support to help you fill out like they're doing with FEMA for the FEMA application. So we'll continue to keep you updated on that as well. Julie is there somewhere. I'm just not sure which one. Oh, yep, I see her. 8-2.
Hi, thank you. I'm so sorry, everybody. I got the time zones mixed up, so I'm sorry to be late to your call. I do have a PowerPoint. I'm going to try to screen share to get that started. If I can figure out how to do that, just a second.
Oh, geez. I tried to make her a panelist.
Okay. Oh, thank you. That's a lot better. Okay. Here, just a minute. Let me get you that. Okay. There you go. Can you guys see that okay? Do you have the PowerPoint now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. And let me just slide down a little bit. So I understand that you guys had a disaster back in 2017 as well. So probably you're familiar with SBA's disaster assistance, but I just want to go through it again. I know you might have questions if you were, if you participated in PPP or COVID-19 EIDL. And right off the bat, I just want you to know that if you did either of those programs, you can still apply for a disaster loan for the flooding. That's been a common question, whether or not you can do that, and you can. If you have a disaster loan from the previous flood, you can also talk to your loan officer about getting a possible deferment on your earlier payment or changing your amortization if you need help with decreasing your payment. So that's something for you to talk about with your loan officer. So just to get that right out in the front. So this is a presidential disaster declaration. And what that means is that FEMA and SBA are here together. So FEMA is mostly helping, or actually there is a FEMA person on this call and they'll talk about FEMA. SBA is here. We do disaster loans for businesses of all sizes, for physical disaster loans. We also do them for nonprofit organizations, faith-based organizations, small agricultural cooperatives, small aquaculture businesses, which I don't think you have a lot of up there in Michigan. And we also do economic injury disaster loans, and that's for small businesses, not for the large businesses, okay? So here's the types of loans and the amounts. Okay, the business loans, the maximum that you would be approved for would be $2 million, and that's for both economic injury and physical damages, those two things together. So 2 million total. And SBA is gonna base the amount that they approve on your uncompensated losses. So that's your physical damages minus whatever your insurance settlement was and your economic losses. And for the economic losses, they are gonna ask you for your tax return for 2019, and they're going to look at what you normally would have been bringing in a year ago, not the past few months when you were impacted by COVID. So here it's business loans, physical damages, economic injury loans, and then homeowners, because maybe some of you are homeowners and you did have damage to your home. That loan amount is up to $200,000 for your real estate and up to $40,000 for your contents, for your personal property, and that includes your vehicle. And then you can also add to your loan 20% of your verified losses to work on mitigation improvements to make your property safer in the future. So that is on top of your other loan amounts. So let's say you were approved for $100,000 loan and then you had $80,000 worth of losses. 20% of that would be $16,000, so your loan would be $116,000. So I feel like I've kind of covered this already, but I wanted you to see the deadline. So the physical loan deadline is September 8th. You have until April 9th of next year to apply for economic injury. The reason there is a larger window like that, it's a 9-month window from the disaster, is because we want people to have a chance to see what the economic impacts are. A lot of times with small businesses, they don't want to go into debt, and they'll try to recover on their own. And then as time goes on, they kind of regret that and decide they want to take a loan. So they might apply later. So we give them that larger window. And also it just takes a while to figure out what the total fallout is going to be from the disaster. So the loan terms are up to 30 years, and they are based on your ability to repay. It's a fixed interest rate for the entire course of the loan, and there's no prepayment penalty. So if you want to pay it off early, no prepayment penalty. And a lot of people ask, how do you decide the loan amount? And as you work on your application, you can certainly request a loan amount, but SBA kind of figures that out for you. They're going to look at your losses. We're going to have a verifier check your losses in addition to whatever you might have gotten from your insurance company. And we're going to figure out what your replacement cost would be. And we'll approve a loan up to that amount. And then you can decide how much you want to accept. You don't have to accept the entire amount. The other thing is you could apply for this loan and then you get 60 days to decide whether to accept it. But if you turn it down for now, you can reactivate your application for 6 months. So it's kind of good just to get the loan application in before the deadline so that you have that as an option if you need it moving forward. There's no cost to apply for these loans, and there's no points or closing fees. So like I said before, the limit to the loan is $2 million, but that can be waived if a business is a major source of employment in the declared disaster area. So a larger business that has a lot of employees, that $2 million limit can be waived. Like I said, if you already have disaster loan from 2017 or you've got a COVID-19 EIDL, you can still apply for this disaster. There's no limit to how many of these you can apply for. It's all based on the actual disaster. And the servicing office can help you adjust your other payments if needed. You can talk to your loan officer about that. Here are the interest rates for this declaration. For businesses, for physical disaster loans, the rate is as low as 3%. For nonprofits, it is 2.75%. And for homeowners and renters, it's as low as 1.25%. So for economic injury, it's 3% for businesses and 2% for 2.75% for nonprofits. A lot of times we get questions about refinancing existing debt down to these lower interest rates. That is not really something we do. You can talk to your loan officer about that. The only time that we do that is when there is substantial disaster-caused damage to your real estate or to your inventory that you might have a loan out on, then we might refinance it. But as a rule, that's not an easy thing to do, and that's the kind of thing you talk directly with your loan officer about. Here is the eligibility. This is what we look at when we're determining the loan amount. We're looking at eligibility, credit history, and your rate payment ability. Pretty much the standard things that people look at when they're giving loans. A lot of times people want to know what you have to do to apply, what forms you need. So I'm going to go through those, but I want to show you something. I hope that this will allow me to. Just a minute. Just a sec. Okay. I can't do it. I wanted to switch my screen over to show you our website. If you go to disasterloan.sba.gov, you can click on a link that will show you all of the links to the application documents. And that way you can go through and look at the documents before starting to work on this online. And I really recommend you do that. You can decide which type of application you want to put in and get your items ready before you start working on your online form. So you're going to need SBA Form 5, and you're going to need the IRS Form 4506T. And that has to be completed and signed by each applicant and each principal owning 20% or more of the business, the general partner or managing member, etc. And I will give you this PowerPoint when we're done so you can send it out to people. So here's some more filing requirements. Complete copies, including all schedules of the most recent federal income tax returns for the applicant, and an explanation if it isn't available, personal financial statement, and that is for the applicant if it's a sole proprietorship and each owner of the applicant business and each general partner or managing partner. And you need a schedule of liabilities listing all the fixed debts. All of this is online, everyone, at disasterloan.sba.gov. And this is just a little bit more. We already talked about this, the income tax return, okay. And a year-to-date profit and loss statement and a current balance sheet. That might not be required, it just depends. They'll talk to you about that as you go through, as you start working with your loan officer. The same here about the nonprofit organization. For an EIDL, we don't allow faith-based organizations to apply for that. That's just small businesses and nonprofit organizations. The home filing requirements are much simpler. It's just Form 5C and the IRS Form 4506. So people always ask about collateral. There is no collateral required for loans of $25,000 or less. So a business can apply for $25,000 or less for an economic injury disaster loan and $25,000 or less for a physical damage loan and get a total loan of $50,000 with no collateral. If you want to get more than that in either individual category, it's going to require collateral, and we take real estate if it's available. We put a note on your real estate. We won't decline your loan for lack of collateral, but we're going to require you to pledge that if it's available. And another common question we get is, what about lien position? And we will accept any lien position for that note. We do require you to keep insurance for the life of your loan. So that is to protect your property and to protect our investment in your property in case there's more flooding in the future. So just know that you do have to maintain insurance while you have the loan with us. My colleagues are on this call and they're going to talk about the SBDC and how they can help you. We really encourage you to reach out to them for business counseling. In doing this work, it just seems that business owners get very overwhelmed by the loss, all the decisions they have to make, the thought of having to take on more debt, navigating all of that. And then you throw in the COVID-19 challenges and it's just such a hard time. So sometimes having that person outside your situation who can help you look at it and give you perspective is very valuable. So we highly recommend you take advantage of SBA's business resource partners, and they will discuss what they can help you with on here. Okay. And then this is how to apply. If you applied for COVID-19 EIDL, you would have found that that was a very easy application. It took about a half an hour or less. It was really quick. You didn't have to upload things, easy peasy. This is not that kind of application. This is a traditional disaster loan application. It definitely is more complex and more time consuming, as I showed you the required documentation. So I just want you to know that up front, when you go to do this, you need to have time and have all your stuff organized and realize it's going to be more of a process than the COVID-19 EIDL. So you're going to apply online, and this is the URL, disasterloan.sba.gov. And if you need assistance with your application, if you have specific questions or you run into a roadblock when you're working on the application, call these numbers here. We have dedicated customer service people for this disaster. If you try to call our 800 number, that is just overwhelmed right now with COVID-19 EIDL calls with a long wait time and just very hard to get in. So we have these people, they're working regular hours, 8 to 5 weekdays, but they are here to help you one-on-one. And you can also email to FOCE, and that stands for Field Operations Center East, just so you know why that is weird, FOCE-help@sba.gov. And that is it. That is my quick overview. I hope that is helpful.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it. That was great information. And yes, it will be really great if you can share those slides with me. I'll happily push that out to our list here and then make it available on our website and our social media channels as well. So thank you so much for your time this morning.
I would like to unshare my screen. Oh, there it is. Okay, there. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay.
And do you have other additions you'd like to give an overview on SBA or anything you would like to tag in on there?
Me, Nicole, this is Catherine.
Yes.
Hi, I do just have a little bit of information, and let me see if I can share my PowerPoint presentation, and I won't. Here we go. Okay, so let me put it in slideshow. Beginning. Okay, so We have a couple of things available to folks. Obviously, everyone knows about the Paycheck Protection Program, the regular economic injury disaster loans for COVID-19, and SBA debt relief programs. And I'm not going to go through the PPP or the EIDL, but I did want to make sure that people know that we do have a debt relief program. So if you have an existing 504 loan or 7A, our regular guaranteed loan program, or any SBA microloan program or microloan that's currently on the books, SBA is making those payments, not deferring them, but literally making those payments beginning March 27th through September 26th. So we're paying principal, interest, and fees. And if you are a new borrower, you are eligible for this pickup that SBA is conducting. So if you're looking to get a new 504 or a SBA 7A guaranteed or a microloan program, we are going to pick up the payments and principal, interest, and fees for that as well. Obviously, the new loans, the size of the loan, the interest rate, the terms of fees, the use of proceeds, and the collateral are all different for each of those loan programs. So I wanted people to be aware of that. And if you have any questions, I'll give you some contact information at the end. Again, in our debt relief program, our personal guarantees are required. As I mentioned, we'll cover the principal, interest, and fees for up to 6 months. That concludes September 26th. And if it's a new loan, we're encouraging people to look to get in touch with a lender now that participates with SBA, because the loan has to be not only approved, but fully dispersed by September 27th. And again, I can make this PowerPoint presentation available. There's more information on our website as well. Here's really what I wanted to speak to, and I know Dave Emmel from the Small Business Development Center will talk more in depth about the services of the Small Business Development Center, but I wanted to make you aware of the array of resources that we have here in Michigan. So as Julie mentioned, we have our Small Business Development Center network. We have SBA Women's Business Centers, SCORE, who are mentors to small business. And then we have a Veterans Business Outreach Center called Vet Biz Central. Here's all the contact information. Obviously, they're all working remotely. But the point I want to make is that they're all doing very relevant topical work on COVID recovery. Our resources can put you in touch with local sources of information for grants, local funding programs, state funding programs, private sector funding programs, in addition to SBA's COVID relief and disaster relief products. Here's another good slide. I would encourage everyone to sign up at sba.gov/updates, and also follow us on Twitter at SBA_Michigan. You could also send us an email at Michigan at SBA.gov, Michigan spelled out. And then of course, here's the disaster customer service. But if you are needing to contact the disaster office of SBA for the physical disaster or the Midland disaster, even if it's the economic injury disaster for the Midland declaration, use the contact information that Julie gives you in her PowerPoint presentation. So that's all I wanted to add. And I'd be happy to take questions if there are any, or at the end.
Thank you, Catherine. I think we're going to be a little at the end there. David, would you like to offer some insight on the SBDC services?
Absolutely. Thanks, Nicole, and our partners from the SBA. Thank you so much. I'm David Emmel. I'm with the Small Business Development Center. For those of you who don't know who we are a prepaid consulting service available to businesses and small businesses across the state of Michigan, specifically within the Great Lakes Bay and Northern Michigan and Northeast Michigan region. We are funded by our partners through the Small Business Administration, as well as the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and our host institution, which is now Saginaw Valley State University. And so we provide consulting, training, and research to assist small businesses to launch, grow, transition, and innovate. A lot of what we have done over the last several months, since really March, is transition from our kind of traditional role to supporting businesses as they're dealing with COVID and the impacts of COVID-19 on their business and business cycle. And one of the things that we've developed a pretty strong competency in with all of our consultants is the ability to kind of navigate the SBA process for either PPP or EIDL loans, including PPP forgiveness. So we are that resource. Our role as it relates to disaster specifically is that we have the ability to work with small businesses to help you prepare documents. As an example, you know, many small businesses that don't have accounting firms or don't use outside counsel for accounting or bookkeeping might struggle with pulling financial statements together to have available. Utilizing tax returns, those types of things to help kind of recreate and restructure some of those are some of the things that we do. And so we work closely in the process with our SBA partners to help businesses kind of assemble all that documentation and get ready for distribution of those through the SBA portal. So again, we're available. Our contact information will get out to everyone. Tony and Nicole through the Midland Business Alliance can connect you to us, but we're here to help you kind of prepare for the process. One of the challenges that I know many businesses have right now is, especially businesses in the Midland community that have been impacted first by COVID, who may have taken out an EIDL or a PPP loan and now are faced with taking out a third loan through this disaster program. And as our colleagues indicated, that, you know, the challenge of having additional debt on your books and the restructuring of some of those can be a little bit overwhelming for a lot of businesses. So we're here to kind of help you navigate the waters of that and to really help kind of find your way through that process. So we can help structure finances and financials for your business to help you understand the additional debt you're going to take on and what that really means for longer term sustainability of your business. So we're here to do that and happy to support in any way we can. And that's what I have. And I apologize, I just realized I didn't share my screen, so you couldn't see my face. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Dave. We appreciate your work in the region and certainly to help all of our small businesses as we recover as a region. Tony, I think you had a couple of comments you want to make, or do you want to do question and answer first?
Why don't we do question and answer first?
All right, I will unmute everyone, or if you have a question, I can unmute all of you and then go from there. So all of you have the ability to talk if you would like to.
This is Kathy Gase at the SBA Michigan District Office. I was just reading the chats, and I just want to say that for anyone who's feeling overwhelmed or who has questions, certainly I am happy to field any of those questions, to have a conversation with you, kind of walk you through the different options that we have available in addition to the physical disaster declaration. So I just want to put that out there. And Nicole has my contact information, and Nicole, you're more than welcome to share my email with anyone, and then when, I can give my phone number and we can have a conversation.
Perfect. We certainly will share that information as well as the presentations that come forward as well.
Okay.
If any of you have questions, any of you attendees on the call, you have the ability to unmute yourself and ask any questions you'd like.
Well, I can get a hold of you later today, Nicole. Thank you. I'm just so overwhelmed right now.
Sure,
I
absolutely.
I can put siding up. I'm busy cleaning and building. This is overwhelming me.
Certainly, Connie. I'll give
I've never begged for money ever in my life. This is just too overwhelming. I'm sorry.
no worries, Connie. I think everyone is feeling a little bit of overwhelm. I'll follow up with you this afternoon.
And Connie, you're not begging for money. That is, you have paid taxes for that, and that is why SBA is here. So don't feel that way.
On a happy note, I'm 2 weeks out and I have all the outside siding up.
Good.
A whole new shop.
What is your business, Connie?
CJ's in downtown Sanford. I've been there 34 years hairstyling.
Oh my goodness.
So it's like starting all over again.
Yeah,
The nice thing is I don't owe anybody any money.
that's good. That's good. And you know, the other good thing, Julie, that I just wanted to say, I'm so happy to hear that there's a dedicated staff and phone number for the Midland disaster. Because to have these citizens have to go through the regular disaster at this point in time would just be unbelievable. So that's really great news.
Yeah, we understand that. And I'm actually typing in the phone numbers in the chat right now.
Perfect.
And that's for the 3 people who are just helping people with their applications and answering questions. They're super compassionate, loving people, very knowledgeable. They're really good to work with. So, and I'll put the email address too.
I
see.
haven't even done the PPP because my bookkeeper said I didn't make enough money, it wouldn't be worth it. So,
Well, you know what? We should talk about that, Julie. You know, maybe get in touch with Dave or myself. You know, there's still money on the table. There's over $100 billion. And if you use it correctly, it can be forgivable. And if not, it's a 1% interest rate over 5 years. And it might just be worth applying for to get you through this hurdle. So, you know, again, maybe that's a conversation that we can have.
I logged in as me. I see you have your hand raised. I'm going to unmute you so you can ask your question.
Hello?
Yep, you are on the
Hi,
line.
Nicole. We
Hello.
met yesterday at Black Creek Kitchen. We had some wonderful tacos. Appreciate your getting with us so quickly. And we are a propane provider for Aranet County and 10 other counties. We did use the PPP program, and that helped us out a lot. We used that up before we even got the money for it, but it helped for keeping our guys working. We're an essential to provide propane for people that want to come pick it up and people that want to have it delivered. We appreciate your help, and we appreciate all the information that you've given to us. And we look forward to doing some more. We're in Aranet County, which is our hardware, Gene's Hardware and Twining, and also we're in Sanford, Michigan. And we were hit with both floods. We had the flood at our location, no roads. Our 65 is shut down at this time. We're trying to get the state to come in and fix our roads, because by this fall we'll be into hunting and so forth coming up that road, up 65 up towards Hale. We have a lot of hunters that come up. And in Sanford, we're just now continue to have some new people that are in our building, and we're in the process of fixing it up before we were hit by this flood. I guess that's it. Am I still on?
Does anybody have any other questions about the disaster loan, the regular loan for the flooding, not the COVID or PPP or the other SBA products?
This is Dave. I want to tag my colleague Julie for a second here. and have her maybe talk a little bit more about why homeowners are going through the SBA and the process related to that.
So I know it's counterintuitive that the U.S. Small Business Administration is making home loans, but back in 1953, when they started the disaster loan program, Congress gave the SBA the job of administering the loans because we were already working on business loans. So homeowners that were impacted, unless they had flood insurance, their insurance is not going to cover their damages. So they can apply for a disaster loan for their uncompensated losses. And what's great about SBA disaster loans is we cover stuff that insurance companies normally don't. Like if your land was washed out, your septic system was messed up, your deck, your fencing, your landscaping, your driveway was hurt, in addition to your house, you can apply for a loan for those things. Even if your house was okay, but your driveway was messed up or your septic tank got messed up, you can still apply for a disaster loan. So the homeowner loan is really a great loan, and the interest rate is as low as 1.25%. That's an amazing rate. And we are really good to work with. If you borrow $25,000 or less, there is no collateral required. For loans greater than that, they're dispersed like a construction loan. So you get a chunk of money, you get $25,000 at a time, you do the repair work, you show your receipts, then you get the next $25,000. And that's how the homeowner loans are, that's how they're administered. What's great about them is you can apply now and then there's no obligation to take the loan. But if you turn it down, you can still turn it back on for 6 months. So that just makes it kind of like, a tool in your disaster recovery toolkit. And the first thing you want to do if you're a homeowner or renter is register at disasterassistance.gov with FEMA. That's kind of your first step. Then you come to SBA and put in an application. And if for some reason we deny your application, we send you back to FEMA for additional grant consideration. That's kind of how the process works when it's a presidential disaster declaration. Can I just tell you one other thing? Sorry.
No,
There's a payment deferment on all the SBA disaster loans. The first payment is not due until 4 months and 30 days from when you sign the note. So that is in effect a 5-month payment deferment. So if you are interested in getting the loan, you need to know you won't even have a payment for the first 5 months on that, which gives you time to make the repairs on your house.
Julie, it looks like there was a question from Connie. Are these loans okay for equipment too?
Yes, that works for, I think she's talking about a physical disaster loan for her business. Mm-hmm. And those cover inventory, real estate, equipment, fixtures, tools, anything like that that was damaged, any physical loss that you had, you can apply for that under the physical disaster loan.
Perfect. I think, Julie, you covered most of the questions we had talked about yesterday, but just circling back, I think there were just a couple that maybe you didn't. Does a business need to demonstrate that they cannot obtain conventional financing before they apply for SBA?
Nope. These are open to any business. You do not have to demonstrate that. And these loans are direct from the U.S. Treasury. They don't go through a bank. They're just straight from the SBA, and the terms and the interest rate does not change for the course of the loan.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I think the only other question we had was some of our business community has lost their ability to fill out or get to the internet because either their equipment was lost or they're struggling to get back to Wi-Fi. We had talked about early in the call, in case some of you were not on, if some of you need that support to sit down at a table with a computer to fill those applications out, we can make those available to you at MBA. So just get in touch with me. I think all of you have my cell number and my email, so we can work on that. I don't have any other questions. I know, Tony, you had a couple of comments you wanted to make in closing.
Good. No, thanks, Nicole. And thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate, you know, you're trying to navigate through so much, and, you know, Connie, you spoke to it. And I think a lot of folks are probably feeling very much the way you are. So we want to be a resource. We want to help you navigate through that. So just, you know, we've obviously got things on our website. We'll be sharing this, but if you just need to call us and talk, and obviously the SBA and SBDC have offered that as well. So we want to be a resource and help you to kind of figure this out. So again, my appreciation to the Small Business Administration, Small Business Development Center for joining us. We're going to keep helping in whatever way. I know Tina Lewis and our team was on the call, and Tina has been out there regularly, you know, boots on the ground, helping to clean out buildings and helping to get supplies and out there. And we've had our ambassadors. So whatever way we can, we want to be of assistance to you. And I know, Angela, thank you for your note. I know you've been leading, trying to help so much. So that's the thing. In a time like this, I know how our community pulls together, and we've seen that. And if there's things we're missing, things we're not aware of, please let us know. But thanks for joining us. Let's keep working together.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for organizing us.
Thank you.